Welcome to The Day I Found Myself with host Cynthia Newell. Life is a series of events designed to help us grow and evolve. This inspirational show is about self-discovery, inner healing, and triumph. Let's dive in. I found myself with your host Cynthia Newell. I am so grateful to be in this space today to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. But first, I want to hear from you. How did you all enjoy the Mother's Day show where I had my mom on? She talked a lot about her mother and the wisdom that her mother imparted into her, and shared a lot, almost made me cry. She shared a lot about how she felt about me, what she was proud of concerning me and where I am. And then I had my three girls on the show. If you haven't seen the episode, please go and take a look on the Cultural Insight Network. And you can also now find us on Roku, the Shirikai network, where we're streaming 24/7. We're always in that rotation. So go check us out and let me know what you thought was, I guess, funny, what you most enjoyed about the show. And yeah, let me know. But today is a very special show. All of the shows are special. But today we're talking about the day I found myself heading towards depression. And so as I've been praying about this show, when I got the invitation to do it, I was wondering, like, what should this show focus on? And it's really about me in the last 9 years of my life, which I remember each and every year very vividly. You know, each year presented different scenarios and situations that pushed me to grow, challenged me to look at my beliefs. I'm in a year 9, the end of this year cycle, and that's really helping me to revisit some of the things that maybe I'm still holding on to that I need to let go. You know, just this week, God was speaking to me about responding instead of reacting. And he showed me in different segments of my life where I am reacting. And, you know, when you react to something, you take yourself and whoever you're reacting to through this emotional roller coaster. And then when you get to the end of it, it's like, oh, I didn't even have to do all that. You know, so to be able to calm down and assess the situations for what they are and then respond is less stressful, you know, and more peaceful. And so this show is just chronicling all the things that I've gone through: the cancer experience, the having a baby unexpected at 39, and moving out and being homeless and just all those things. And so this show is really going to focus on the day I found myself heading towards depression. It was a very trying time in my life. But when we come back after the break, I'm going to tell you more. And I have a special guest that I'm going to introduce you to who supported me through, I guess you could say, coming back to life. And so come back after the break and we're going to talk more.
Join me Sunday through Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for Bedtime Stories. Together, we'll take an intimate journey into the awe-inspiring world of dreams, one story at a time, and unlock the spiritual wisdom in your dreamy mind. Bedtime Stories is where dreams and inspiration meet. So come, wind down, relax, and enjoy an inspiring story.
Back, everyone, to the day I found myself with your host, Cynthia Newell. So before the break, I was talking a little bit about my experience that almost took me to depression. So my friend Alycia Johnson here, she leads a community. Back when I joined it, it was AJ 365, but now it's known as the 1212 community. I can't tell this story without sharing one of the things that she constantly says to us, which is pay attention to everything that crosses your path, right? So back in, I would say about 2019, it was time for me to renew my lease. Now, my marriage was on the rocks, I would say, after several years of being in it, I could kind of see what the tone of the marriage was going to be. Yet I was still willing to fight for the marriage, but it just seemed like, and this is one of the things that God spoke to me, you can't build a marriage alone. It takes two people to build the marriage. Yet I wanted to fight for the marriage. I wanted to keep the marriage because I had had a child with my husband and I wanted her to grow up in a two-parent home. And then this was my second marriage. And so I didn't want a second divorce. So I was willing to persevere, pray, and do what I needed to do to keep the marriage, but it wasn't being reciprocated. It just seemed like it was just hitting up against a wall. And so I tagged out. I asked God, let me out. Please let me out. I was like Doughboy off of some boys in the hood. Oh, not Doughboy, but Trey. Let me out. Let me out, though. I tapped out. I was like, so I had forgot that I asked God that. So when it was time to renew our lease, I called the leasing office and they couldn't find our lease for me to renew it. And so I'm very good with my business, my paperwork, and all of that. And I just thought that that was real strange, but I didn't think it was real strange until like the third time it happened. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm not supposed to renew the lease. And then, like, my mother, she had called me earlier in the year, and she was like, I just had a vision of you and the kids living with me. And I kind of dismissed it. I'm like, I'm trying to work on my marriage. I'm not trying to, leave or anything like that. So I just kind of disregarded it. But then, like, a few months later, my then spouse said he got a new place and he was going to go stay down there for a couple of weeks. Now, this person didn't like to pay bills, so I knew that he was not going to pay bills at a new place and at our place. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to live with my mother. You going to do what you're going to do. And then things just kind of, went from there, how they were going to go. So living with my mother, maybe, after the smoke settled, you get all your stuff moved and you get some rest from all that moving. I began to start feeling down, like the thoughts really started pouring in. You're a failure. Like, here you are putting a whole another child through this experience. You had two daughters that went through a divorce, and the oldest daughter was severely impacted. And look at the havoc that was wreaking on her life. And now my middle daughter is showing up in her life. You're a failure. Like, I started to feel real down. What's going to happen with Samantha? Like, and I just started questioning my ability to make decisions. Like, and I had my business and working full time. And I just felt like everything that I had envisioned for my life, it just crumbled to pieces. And I just started feeling really down. And the more I thought, the deeper that I went into those thoughts, and I started being depressed. And so we get to about June, which that's the month of my birthday. And in my mind, I'm like, this is not how I want to go out. So I said, come July, I'm going to join a community to get some support. And so I'm praying and I'm asking God, what community can I join or whatever. And I think at the time you were offering, we do these 30-day journaling excursions. So I said, I'm gonna just check it out, So I stacked up with the 12-12 community. I didn't commit. I shacked up. I paid for like the 1 month or whatever. But as I'm there, like, I'm listening, and I never said anything on the calls or anything like that. I just sat and listened. And when I tell you, like, this community, they didn't know me. I knew Alycia, but I didn't know the members of the community. But listening to Alycia share her wisdom on our 5 a.m., 4 a.m. for me, but our 5 a.m. calls and the different journals, the forgiveness journal, the decluttering journal, like, she has different journals, and she's going to talk more about it. But I remember I committed maybe about 3 months in. I said, I want to be a part, and I paid for the membership, but I didn't say anything till like the end of the year. But when I tell y'all, like, depression is real, first of all. When life happens and you have a vision for your life and it doesn't unfold that way and you don't understand, it's something that you say, Alycia, about a straight line or something like that. What is that saying that you say?
The shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line.
Man, my line was not straight. It's been a zigzag line, but this community, I just encourage anybody that you're feeling alone. Sometimes I love the church people. I grew up in the church, but sometimes you're not going to find it in the church, because sometimes in the church is too much judgment, and you may be too close to the people or they're too close to the situation. Sometimes you have to get with people that don't know the details. They don't know nothing, and just allow them to do what they do, and you just be poured in. So I want to introduce y'all to this jewel that I met back in 2009, I think. 2000, and we met each other because we were a part of a coaching community. We were just in a place where we were looking for more, and we were coached, and we just stayed connected. So I want to introduce y'all to Alycia Johnson, who is the leader, the founder of the 1212 community, which is a powerful community. If you don't know about this community, you need to know about it. But Alycia, tell the people hi and just share something about what led you to starting the 1212 community.
Hey everybody. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for inviting me and having me to be a part of this wonderful space. This work is actually by accident because I never wanted a group. Because of all of the things that you hear and learn, and I didn't want to be around a whole lot of women. I didn't want to be in a group. I was commitment phobic. Like, I didn't like making commitments. Like, everything that I didn't want to do is what this group is.
Yes. So, wow.
And that shows you that God is not concerned about your feelings, your perceived limitations, all of those things that you put up as an excuse when you're operating in God's economy.
Yeah,
God takes care of all of those. So the work started many years ago. I made a promise that, if God showed me how to turn around my marriage, my finances, my parenting, that I would squeal like a pig and I would just help people that cross my path. And I had no idea that it would morph into this. I'm just thinking I would just be like, whoever crossed my path and they had a problem, hey, journal, write it down, make it plain, and I thought that was what the work was going to be. But surprise, surprise, it has turned into a whole community, a very vibrant community.
Yes.
And consistency. I was not everything that I thought I was not. This community has helped me to become consistent, an early riser.
Right.
I used to lie, like it straightened me up so much. I used to be a chronic liar. I used to just lie about like unnecessary things, like just everything. Like, it was ridiculous. But this community has forced me to become a truth teller, a truth seeker, operating in spirit and in truth. So for me, this community, every day that I log on and every day that I get the opportunity to do the work in this community, it's funny to me because you could not have told me, especially back in 2009 when we met.
Yeah.
I was still a mess. I was a mess when we met in 2009.
Really?
I was just starting this work. I was journaling through my work. I was still doing my work. And so our relationship is truly a testimony to paying attention to everyone and everything that crosses your path. Yeah. Our paths cross for a reason in that community because you too are a powerhouse. Like, to say, I be like, I have a dream interpreter in my phone. Like, if I have, and actually, since I had a dream last night, I want to talk to you after this.
He always does that to me, y'all.
like, I need to book an appointment because I was like, what does this dream mean? Because it was so powerful to me. But anyway, yeah, that's how it all started. And
Yeah.
that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Wow. So you said that you were going through and you asked God to show you how to navigate like the challenges in your marriage, parenting. Did you ever go to or almost go through depression?
Girl, I was in a psych ward for a week. I had a whole breakdown.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a whole breakdown, and and it was interesting because I didn't know, like, when you're going through depression, I don't think you realize it is depression. Like, you just kind of identify it as, I'm just in a funk.
Yeah.
I just want to sleep like 23 out of 24 hours out of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I just got to keep the kids alive. Like, other than that, y'all good? Y'all good? Okay.
Yeah.
You want to, and with depression, you can fake it for a little bit. Like, you can pull yourself together enough to get through a PTA meeting, or you can pull yourself together enough to get through a teacher's conference or get to work. But as soon as I would pull into the driveway, as soon as I put that key in the door, it was just like the mask fell off, everything. And then it was just like I could go back into that sullen place or whatever. And depression is really deceptive because you can be a functioning depressed person because you still got bills to pay. You still, your bills will keep you going. Like, life is structured in such a way that you can get through your day-to-day activities just based on routine.
Yeah.
Like, I could drive to work and not realize what route I took. Like, it was getting scary because people would be like, did you run into that accident on 150? And I'm like, did I take 50? I don't even remember what route I took this morning. Because I was in such a fog. I would say unfortunately, the majority of my kids' early years, I was depressed. I was depressed. And I would pretend, to be happy for them and the holidays, the birthdays. But honestly, a lot of that stuff I don't even remember.
Oh, wow.
It's sad because my daughter be like, Mama, you remember such and such? I was like, child, who is that? Mama, you remember such and such from third grade? I'm like, third grade. I be pulling out their yearbooks.
My body was here, but my mind was something else, somewhere else. I could feel myself kind of going that route with Samantha. Simultaneously, you have your emotions that you're dealing with, but then you also have this child who's going through, they don't understand. They have all these questions. And, I found myself kind of snappy with her, and it was just really not a good place. And so when you look at like the people that come to your community, who would you say are the people that usually are drawn to the work that you do, your clients or whatever?
People that want real change without all of the fluff. Like, people that really want, like, it's beyond affirmations. It's beyond the woosah. It's beyond the, I need to get away for a weekend. You ain't going to change nothing in a weekend.
Right.
For people that realize you will not go from 0 to 60 overnight, but if you stick with it long enough, that the changes are going to happen and you don't have to do a lot of rework. So it's for the people that are ready for legit change and are willing to do, like, if your life is messed up between 5 and 9 p.m., you're not going to be able to change it in those hours. So this is why we do 5 a.m. because you cannot heal in the same place you've been hurt. People that are willing to know that they have to do something different. People that are willing to be. This is why we have our community is a no judgment zone. That's what I consistently. There is no one in this community. I will kick people out, what they say in a New York second, if I get the hint of judgment or, condemnation.
Yeah.
Because this is a safe place where you can come and say all of the things and do the things that are going to free you and liberate you for good. For good.
Yeah.
We're too old.
Yeah.
The people in our community, we too old to be doing a whole lot of rework. I ain't got
That's
10
true.
years to say this don't work. I got
Yes, that's the truth, and that's the whole truth. One of the things that you drive home, and I really want to talk about, and is forgiveness. That is such a powerful process, journey, and I learned so much more about forgiveness being in the community. How did the forgiveness journal come about?
That was the journey of my life. It was interesting because my husband and I, we our marriage was an absolute wreck, and I had an affair first, and that really obviously just threw the whole relationship off the tracks. And so it was during that time period that I really started to go on a journey of forgiveness. And it was initially self-forgiveness because I messed it up. I was the one that stepped out. I was the one like, oh my God, if you help me to, forgive myself, and I'll never, ever, 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 you make all those promises and everything. But the forgiveness work from that point took on a whole nother life form. Like it just, like a lot of times people want to forgive like on that surface level. And I wasn't willing.
You think that that's what people just know, though? Do you think that people don't really understand how to go deeper with forgiveness?
No, people don't. I didn't understand how to go deeper. I didn't understand the thing that I wanted. I wanted the way that I envisioned forgiveness. Mike, I'm sorry. I apologize for what I did. I apologize for I was getting ready to cuss, messing up the whole marriage, doing all of that. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. And we can move on and live a very happy life. Alycia, I understand where you come from. I forgive you. I love you. Come on, let's make this work. That's what I wanted. I wanted it didn't work like that. It did not work like that. So forgiveness initially, a lot of times we want to do that forgive and forget. Like I wanted to forgive myself and forget I did anything. And the advice I was getting from people, some of that stuff you just take to the grave. Like you don't have to tell everything. You don't have to do. And God was like, do you want a new life? Do you want a changed life? Or do you just want to gloss over this and pretend that everything is okay?
Right. Yeah.
I was so done with pretending because I had done that all my life. I was so done with all of that. I was like, well, God, I just want whatever you want me to have. And so it was like, then God was like, well, let the games begin. Forgiveness is not for the weak of heart.
It is not.
It is not, because see, when you start to forgive, we are forgiving at that top level, but we don't realize that when we peel back that top level, everything that was being held down by that top level,
yes,
rise up.
Yep. It's like next. Oh my God. Oh
yes.
my God. Yeah, that is so true. Like when I do the forgiveness journal even when we're not doing the forgiveness journal, because each time around something new, like you just, using your example, it appears. But one of the ones that just really stuck out was forgiving your finances and forgiving the church. Like, how did you, I know it was God inspired. She has this segment of the group that's called Spirit Led Entrepreneurs, which I'm a part of. So I know it was Spirit Led, but like, what in your life with their finances brought you to write that particular entry in the journal?
So when God does a work, God does a complete work.
Yes.
So I was praying I was praying, God, just heal my marriage. Like, I'll take care of everything else. Just work on this part.
Right. Not this guy.
Not this. I got that part. I need you to this dude right here. I can't handle him. Like, if you can, but everybody else, I could control my kids. They were small. I mean, they gonna do what I tell them to do. I could control the dog. Everything that I knew I could control. But this dude right here, he's just run amok. I just can't handle him. So if you just handle the marriage, then it's gonna be okay. And God was like, no. You don't understand how I work. When we say God does stuff in spirit and truth, and we're supposed to do things in spirit and truth, everything has a spirit and everything has truth. So God literally, everything that I touched, and this was very powerful, everything that I touched, God had me to examine it. Everything that I touched was damaged in some capacity because it was created in a place where I was hurt, or I was angry, or I was afraid. And so my finances, my everything was tainted. And God was like, if you want, and that's the thing, I was praying for restoration. I'll never forget that. I was praying in my marriage for restoration. God's like, you do not want this restored. Because see, when you talk about restoring something, you're going to keep it on the same foundation and build up, on the foundation. God said, no, you got to tear this foundation up. Like, you got to tear the whole sucker down. Like, it's all got to go. And that was scary, because when you're in your late 30s, early 40s, and God is telling you everything that you built has been built on a shaky foundation, that's your whole life.
That's how I was with everything that had happened. Like, that's where I was. Like, I am rebuilding. Like, God took me through. I mean, it is. And I'm 46. So this started a few years ago. I kind of feel old, but, but it is, to your point, it is scary.
You feel old right now, but once you do the work, that's how God redeems the time.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yes, because
like an ascension.
Yes, I'm grateful that God started me like in my late 30s, early 40s. And when I was comparing what I was doing to my friends that had the houses, had the cars, had the kids, everything was perfect. It looked like I was behind. But now that I'm in this place and God has put me in a different space, people that are older than me now are trying to do the work that I've done. So God is like, you are now ahead of it. It looks like you're behind in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now the people that look like they had it together are now realizing that they didn't.
Right.
People that are getting divorced in their 50s and 60s. People that are, losing the relationships with their children. Like our relationship with our kids now is blossoming. Like, they have seen our transition. They've seen our change. They're coming to us now for documented wise counsel. Like, we know y'all were a mess, so you legit can help me with this.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
It makes you a better parent, because it allows you to allow your children to go through their process early. I ain't trying to prevent nothing. I'm like, go ahead, bump your head, do everything that you got to do, and then we're going to evaluate it on the other side, and you're going to be so much happier in your 30s.
That's good. That's good. We're going to talk more after this break. So make sure y'all come back, because we're going even deeper. As y'all can see, y'all see what I'm talking about. Like, this is a powerful woman, and she leads a powerful community. So make sure you come back after this break. 2, The Day I Found Myself. We are enjoying a wonderful conversation with Miss Alycia Johnson, Mrs. Alycia Johnson, from the 1212 community, the leader of the 1212 community. Before the break, we were talking about the power of forgiveness. And you were sharing with us how God does things completely. So you were praying for your marriage, but God started turning everything around in your life, right? Starting from the bottom up, So I asked about the finance journal entry in the forgiveness journal, but how did the one about forgiving the church come about, and forgiving God? That's another one. I never would have thought that we need to forgive God, but that one is always powerful every time I journal about those. But how did those two come about?
Mm-hmm. So I don't even think I answered the finance one properly. Okay. The finance forgiveness came because I was reading every book on finance, like how you manifesting money and bringing money in, and walking in abundance. And you got all of your, I got stuff on mirrors, I got stuff in my wallet, I got, this stuff ain't working.
Did you do that thing where they had you write a check to yourself from the universe? From God, the amount of money that you want, been there.
I wrote all the checks. I was singing to it, humming to do everything,
Yeah.
And God was like, and I could just kind of see my angels just sitting back there like, this Yahoo, how long is she gonna keep this up? Like, this is ridiculous. And God had to really help me to understand that foundationally, money, everything follows God. On earth as it is in heaven. For everything in the natural, there's a parallel and corresponding occurrence in the supernatural. Everything that you need as far as your life is concerned is earmarked for you.
Yeah.
But everything that you need also is controlled by heaven. And it's like an if-then statement in geometry. If this equals this, then this will happen. So a lot of times God was showing me that the money that I needed, my finances, were not coming to me because I was not fulfilling the requirement. If Alycia does this, this, and this, then her money can come. If Alycia sets up a 5 a.m. journaling challenge, consistently shows up, does all of these things, and everything that she needs is going to come to her. If Alycia goes and applies for this job and acts right and stops lying and doing all of these things, then she can have the income that she wants. But there's a part for me to do, there's a part for heaven to do, and there's a part for other people to do. So everything that we want, as they say, everything that we want wants us, because that's the assignment. But you have to meet the requirements.
Yeah.
So I had to forgive myself for misunderstanding my finances. It wasn't that the money didn't want to come to me. It wasn't that I wasn't acting right. So I had to apologize for not doing what I needed to do to make it easy for the money to find me.
Wow. That's powerful. And that's so liberating, because so many people are walking around feeling like it's something wrong with them, or they're doing something wrong.
Absolutely nothing. You just have to tweak a few things. You know exactly what God has told you to do. You know exactly when God told you to do it. You know exactly. And it's funny when I, sit and talk about, when did God tell you to do this? About 6 months ago. You haven't done it yet? No. And the moment that they do it, the moment that it's like, oh, nirvana, the whole world opens up, God gives you the instructions.
Yeah. At any point when you were doing what God had told you to do, and let's say you were not getting the results at that time, like, how did you find the strength to persevere and to keep.
See, that's the thing. You can never do what God tells you to do without it reaping the rewards that are encoded in it. I have yet to do anything that God has told me to do that the reward did not follow. So I take the conference we just had. Everything that God told me to do, though it was just like, this does not compute. This does not compute. This does not make sense. Everything that God told me to do, the reward was attached to it. But you're not going to get the reward until you complete the assignment. So that's the key.
Yeah.
The assignment, when heaven gives you the assignment, the reward is not long after that. The only reason that we have a delayed reward is when we delay the action. Because you got to think about it. When God tells you to do something, and when you do it at that moment, everything that you need is encoded in that assignment. When you delay the assignment, then you have to realize that heaven has to recreate or work with what is given at that moment. So when heaven tells you to do something at day one, and you have, let's say, the window of opportunity is 45 days. You have 45 days to get this assignment done. God tells you at day one to do it because at day one, you striking while the iron is hot. So if you do it at day one, everything that is correlated with that expression is going to come. If you wait to day 15, then adjustments have to be made.
That's true. Yeah.
If you wait to day 30, and see, this is why people are like, it took a while, but you have to ask yourself, how long did it take you?
Yeah.
So heaven works in correlation to your obedience. Radical obedience is what moves you through the process.
So before we go to the other two questions, just thinking about what you said about there's a part for you to do, a part for the other people to do, and a part for God to do. So when I look at my experience of the marriage, like, man, I had a question in my mind and then it just slipped away. But I don't even know how to ask it now. But basically, I think the gist of it is, am I wrong for my decision, I guess, to leave? What are you laughing?
No, because first of all, we have to take responsibility for the entire process.
Okay.
And I know that we have our sweet little angel here, Samantha. So that part of the process, we know that baby is here for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
But prior to Samantha getting here, you have to ask yourself, did you have signs in the beginning that you overlooked?
Girl, yeah.
So we have to look at the whole picture. Like for me, like that's one thing, like Mike and I, we're grateful that we were able to grow together.
Yeah.
But when we sit and we really talk about our relationship from the beginning, our relationship has really been saved by the grace of God. Like we know that God has put us together for an assignment. Like we have an assignment. But in the beginning, we sit there and we talk. Yeah, we shouldn't have got married at that time. We know we were wrong. We shouldn't have, we knew the signs were there. Like we should have, not that we shouldn't have ended up together, but we probably should have waited and resolved some of but we didn't know. We didn't know. So nothing is wasted in God's economy. So
and that's another thing that I love that you say. Yeah.
No matter what direction we choose to go in, heaven can work that thing out. So that doesn't even faze me when people are like, did I make the wrong decision? You made a decision. So whatever that decision is, there is no decision that we make that heaven can't work with. But
Yeah.
if we want a better outcome, then we have to give heaven better stuff.
That's true. And I feel like that's where I'm at now. Like, I was sharing this morning on our Life Path call how I feel like I'm really learning what a husband should be through my relationship with God. Like, God took me all the way back to the beginning of the question, why did you get married? You know, the very first time, why did you get married? You know, and required me to really dig deep. I think I was in year 7. So, you know, that's a very reflective year.
Right.
So I was really digging and answering that question of why did I get married? You know, what were the driving forces behind that? And then I had to go and really face the father wound that I had, you know, and allow God to transcend that, because that was, you know, what's so funny is that both of my ex-husbands, I didn't even realize this till after I was out of the marriage, like the second marriage, but both of my ex-husbands and my father each have a brother named David. I did not realize that, you know, and so it was like, that's kind of who I married, you know, him, you know, but yeah, he's taken me all the way back, and it feels great because now when I do, or if I do decide, I keep saying if, but I know that I feel like that's a part of what I want in life, you know, a relationship, marriage, and all of that. But I'll be better equipped. The foundation is more stable. I'm more clear. I'm more secure in who I am and who God says I am. So I would not do this work. Like, yeah, the tears and the hurt was there, the disappointment and all of that. But just me saying that day, this is not how I'm going out. You know, I need to get some support, some help, and joining a community. Like, it's been very instrumental in my healing journey, you know. And so I encourage people, you know, do your work. Like, why live this life and be miserable and have all these judgments about yourself, and you're keeping your true desires at bay because you won't go deep. I have people in my life that just, they're suffering, you know, because they choose to forgive. They choose to not forgive. They choose to just walk in pride. And I'm just like, I ain't willing to wake up every day and feel like that. You know, I want to see the sun, not just the rainy clouds and all of that, you know. But yeah, doing your work, I'm so grateful that you did your work, because you're able to really pour into our community. And it's from an authentic place. It's your truth, you know. It's not something you fabricated or something you heard. You know what I'm saying?
And it's fun because it sometimes I get upset sometimes because I'm like, you guys are making like progress in leaps and bounds, like from one year cycle to the next year cycle. I'm like, oh my God, like, oh my gosh, did you just get a house? Did you just get another? Did you just do this? Are you oh my goodness. And I'm looking at it, it's like people are moving through at light speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I'd be daggone if I had a community to move me through. But it took me like 10 years to get through the process by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one reason that I love the community, because people don't get stuck where I got stuck. Because you have a whole community saying, keep going. That's the way it's supposed to work. Because a lot of times people get stuck at, none of my friends talk to me anymore. I just don't. Child, that's part of the process. Keep moving. You know, it's like, well, it got, I hadn't had this situation happen in 10 years. Now it's coming back. That's part of the process. You revisiting it so you can get it right. Oh, okay. People be texting me, I passed the test, girl. You know, and so it's fun for people. But sometimes I get a little salty, like, this all I needed was a community, and I could have shaved like 10 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't imagine just going through it. I remember when I was first introduced to it, it made sense. But the years before that, it's like, you're up and down, up and down. I thought something was wrong with me. So I'm trying to, figure out how to keep this level way of moving through life, but it doesn't work like that,
And
so.
and for you, I say, what did she do? Oh my, taking ownership of your gift of dream interpretation.
Yeah, girl, the download, I'm telling you, God has really been speaking. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I had a severe issue with trust. I didn't even trust God. So that's why I love that journal entry about forgiving God, but now I feel the support and the love of God. Like, nobody in the church could have helped me understand it. It's just, so I feel safe to do the things that God is telling me to do. Sometimes I do look at God like side eye, but because I'm getting ready to do a live event in August, and I'm celebrating in July. We're gonna have a birthday celebration for bedtime stories, because bedtime stories will be a year old, But I trust God now. Like, it's a whole story, but it's just, I feel supported. I feel supported. I feel like God is not going to send me out there and just have me out on the edge and okay, what I do now, God is like, figure it out, but
No, it's not. I mean, if anything, that's why for me, when we went to Dallas, I went shaking in my boots. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, God, we should not be here. We should not at the Omni, and that we should not be here. God was like, you should be wherever I place you, and wherever I place you, I support you.
Yeah.
That green room story was it for me. Like,
tell me the story. Tell the audience.
The people that start I'm thinking we talking like me and Cynthia talking on the phone. Girl, let me tell you. So the green room story. This is hilarious. So we had an artist at the event. And so with artists, you have to meet all of their riders and their requirements. So they were initially supposed to stay at the hotel. So we were like, look, if you're going to stay at the hotel, can you just use your room and just come down with, oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. So they ended up not staying at the hotel. So when they got to the hotel, it's like, where do I put my stuff? So we didn't get the green room because it was expensive. It was like, dang, how much is a green room? And it was a lot. So the day of, it's like, we need a green room. God has pulled a ram out of the bush. We got a green room that was used by someone else, famous person that had left the hotel, but the green room was still available. And so they were like, here, use the green room, just be out by midnight. We were like, oh my God, I ain't calling no names because I won't get nobody in trouble. But
right.
It's just like, oh my
God, yeah.
A whole green room. I mean, it was just amazing. And the reason I share that story is because when you decide to go with God, God knows and takes care of all of the details.
Yeah.
All of the details. Yeah. I never would have thought about that detail. I never would have. God was like, don't worry about it. So when you think about that, the reason that story means so much to me is that helps me to understand that even before this event was designated, God had me choose the right date. Choose this weekend because you're going to need to be there that weekend because this weekend is the weekend that this person is going to be there. And all of the, you know how much calculation had to go into that for us to line up?
So it kind of go back to what you were saying. The minute God tells you to do stuff, do it. Yeah.
Yes, because if I had delayed and waited to make the reservation, like when God says do something now, and I feel it like in my solar plexus area, you got to pay attention to where you feel the pull. So when I feel a strong pull in my solar plexus area, I ain't thinking about it. I ain't questioning it. I'm not doing anything but making the call, sending the email, writing the check, whatever I need to do. Because I know because of all of the experience I've had that God is not going to steer me wrong.
Yeah.
But it will get scary now.
Yes.
Like the beginning. God is the Alpha and the Omega.
Yes, got to remember that.
That middle part is where people miss it. But if
Yeah.
you can identify the beginning and stay focused on the end, your only goal is to get to the end.
Yeah, yeah.
If I can get to the end of this, everything that I need in the middle is going to work out.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But that's where people get skittish and nervous. And we had so many moments in between that I was like, I can't tap out now, like I'm in too deep. I just, God wants you to get so far in the middle that it doesn't make sense to go back, but you want to see what the end is going to be. That's God's sweet spot.
Yeah, that's good. And that's where I feel like I'm getting to. Like I really feel like God is pulling me out in them waters.
I'm like, is she doing?
It's all God. And I just feel like I'm covered, I'm protected. He's gonna make it work. And when he said do a live event, I'm like, a live event? What does that look like? I had reserved the room for another event. I never used it, so I still had the room, and God was like, use that room for a live event. I'm like, okay, but I trust him, because when bedtime stories started, I started doing the stories, and then one night I didn't have a story to share, and I read dream stories through this company that produces these books. He said, use that book. It's still a dream story, so I trust God, and I really do, because I've been in this for 10 years. I want to see where is it going to take me? So yeah, that is so true. And the Yes Conference was all that. Like it was just wonderful. I'm still in awe, to be honest. Like, what? You say, what happened? Man, this is wonderful. Like, I just really want people to be encouraged to see what I learned from being in this community is that life is going to keep lifing. It's not going to stop. But the way that you position things is spirit, mind, and then the physical. And how you show and guide us how to pay attention to the spiritual things. Like you say something that is so funny. You made a post or something about our angels just sitting around waiting to be employed, just doing nothing. Like, they're not doing anything because we're not giving them anything to do, but to be reminded of that, and for a Black woman, a woman in general, we are so conditioned to just try to do it all. But knowing that we have spiritual support, like, and when you use it, like even something as minute as, God, can you just please make sure I got a parking spot close to the door because I got these shoes on and I don't want to take them off and whatever. It may seem small and silly, but when you see it happen, like as soon as you pull up, somebody's pulling out. Or, it's just like amazing. Or like this year I was asking to have more training in certain things that I could relate to in my business, but not be a business expense. And so here come my job saying, telling me that I can pick the different professional development trainings that I want to take, and they'll pay for them. And that stuff, can be transferred over to my business. Like I can use those skills and stuff in my business. Like angels definitely do things. They work on what is your most memorable angel story?
Oh my God.
An angel.
Well, the most recent one, my angels are always showing out, but the most recent one was that whole conference. I'm still processing everything, but it was the basket story. Someone had given me a basket. It was my birthday. This community is so sweet. So they gave me, I got a birthday basket, and the whole basket was just beautiful. So I took all the snacks and stuff out and put them in my bag. Like I could carry the snacks, but the basket wouldn't fit in my suitcase. So I was like, my daughter was with us, and Mike, you got to make a decision. What you gonna do with this basket? So I'm walking out the hotel with this basket, and so we get down, and our Uber driver comes, and I'm still carrying the basket. Mike's like, you gotta you got to leave the basket. You got to leave the basket. I'm like, no, I got to find it a good home. I got to find it a good home. So fast forward, we get to the airport and we walk into the airport. All of the garbage receptacles are there. And I'm trying to find a home for the basket. And so I walk into the airport and this woman, she's working the wheelchairs and she's like, what a lovely basket. Can I have it? I mean,
what?
She zoned in on this basket and she was like, I'll give it a good home. She was saying everything that I had requested. And
Wow.
Mike is standing there like, what had happened? Like, what is going on? So that, Mike and I are convinced when we get to heaven, we're going to see that little lady standing there and she's going to be, that was an angel. That was an angel.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Well, listen, y'all, we're gonna talk some more after the break. We're gonna take a break real quick. I want you to come back as we wrap up this conversation with Alycia, and she's gonna tell more about how to connect with her community. So stay tuned and come back.
Let us help you spread the word about your business, your book, or upcoming event. Expand your reach and market your business with us. We would love to share your message with our viewers. Serious inquiries only. Email me at the email address below, and we will connect with you and discuss the various options we have to promote your business on the show and via social media.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to The Day I Found Myself. As you can see through my conversation with Alycia, why I love her. She's just full of wisdom. She's full of good information that really helps you to navigate life. And so, Alycia, I want you to tell people how they can connect with you and the work that you do. It's okay.
Okay, sorry about that. My phone rang. So you can connect with me all social media, the 1212community.com or the 1212 community. So that's everywhere. But we have a very robust community. We do 5 a.m. journaling challenges. We also do spirit-led entrepreneur work. We have the Life Path Year Cycle work. So the best way to enter into the community is through the forgiveness work. And so if you go to any of our social media, we're actually restructuring things. So the entry point will be forgiveness, because forgiveness is the foundation for everything. So once you enter through forgiveness, the doors will open and everything else will be available. So that is the main entry point, is forgiveness, because absolutely nothing is going to stick without powerful forgiveness work.
That's true. That's true. Well, I want to thank you so much for being a guest and just sharing your insight with us. I want to thank you for being a friend. I admire your strength, your courage, your obedience, and I just want to thank you for squealing like a pig. Some people, they take stuff to their grave, and they could have helped so many people, but not you. And so thank you for your yes, and for being the amazing woman that you are. And so, you guys, gals, I did ask Alycia a question that she did not get a chance to answer here, but if you want to get that answer, you can join my Facebook community. We have it up now. The Day I Found Myself page is live. Go there and like the page, and we're going to post her answer to the question how the journal entry of forgiving God and forgiving the church came about. I have enjoyed being here with you all. I hope you'll join me next month. I have another exciting, wonderful guest coming on, Miss Teresa Buxton, who's going to be talking about our mental health. But until then, I want to leave you with a poem, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Crony by poetess Cynthia Sherrill. Some people may find comfort assaulting men, shedding tears in the arms of friends. But for me, it's my paper and my pen. Some people may find comfort ignoring the facts because they detract from forced reality, requiring them to deal with what they don't want to see. Some people may find comfort looking deep within, reflecting on oneself sharing hidden thoughts with no one else. Some people may find comfort in a rehearsed biblical verse, therapy, for temporary clarity. Some people may find comfort tossing up a bottle of gin, engaging in sex and sin. But for me, it's my paper and my pen.